Okay, this is a video for my buddies Jeff and Joe. This video is going to help you guide you guys on a system that I've spent years to develop. Not a lot to do in Korea, so I spent a lot of time actually developing and perfecting the system, coordinating with my accountants to maximize my tax write-off. Jeff, this system is very specific for you in real estate investing, so not a whole lot you're gonna have to manipulate here. Joe, one of the things that I want you to do is first go talk to your accountant and decide what type of business you can start to maximize your write-offs, as well as how you're gonna educate yourself as to what forms you're gonna need within the business that you start in order to maximize your write-off. So the first place that you guys need to look at is irs.gov. This is where you're going to go to find all of the baseline education that you need. So they've got your Form 1040, they've got your Form 1040 instructions. Basically, what you want to do is figure out, Joe, you want to figure out what forms you're going to need to start reading up on and really diving into. Then you download these specific forms right here. So starting from the left, I stands for information, and then I've got a 1040 Schedule A. F stands for Form 1040 Schedule A. So the information versus the form. So the form is basically what you fill out, or your accountant fills out and submits to the IRS. And you guys want to be able to sort of familiarize yourself with some of these forms in various different depths. So you go to irs.gov. Once your accountant says, hey, read these forms, you just simply plug them into here. Schedule E, for example, that's mainly real estate specific stuff. And then I want you to download the actual form here. You'll see it on the left, and then the instructions. Now, I know you guys have been sort of losing a lot of money in tax deductions. So this system that I come up with is really going to help you become efficient. So first step is to figure out what you need to study up on. Then you download the forms, you read the forms, and you study. So that way you can create this document. Boop. Where the hell is my... There it is. Boom. So this is a document that I created by studying the schedules and verifying with my accountant that, hey, this is everything that I can possibly deduct. So starting from the top, you'll see, looking at the left, you'll see A stands for Schedule A, E stands for Schedule E, and you'll see forms. Basically, forms are everything that I can deduct on my taxes that are sent to me every single year, and I gotta collect from certain various entities. For example, W-2, you see, well, I definitely have to get my W-2 in there. 1098 comes from all of my houses, and you'll see the definition of the 1098 is a receipt from the mortgage company showing what I paid in taxes and interest, or actually somebody else paid for me in taxes and interest. So the last section of this education worksheet comes in a chart form. So Joe, you're going to want to create something like this. And Jeff, this, you could pretty much copy this with all your houses and create this, manipulate this document to meet exactly your needs here. So starting at the top, documents I've created every year as a recurring expense for each home. So looking at the description of the document on the left, you'll see insurance. I know that I could write off insurance on my taxes. And I know that because I've read the Schedule E form, and I've read the Schedule E information sheet, and I've included this into the chart. So if I forget where to get these documents, then I've got a quick reference in the second column, which shows me where to get the documents. And then the last section here are the addresses of each property. And then it'll tell me if I need the document, yes or no. And then the highlighted means that I've actually collected the document for the year. So for example, here, you'll see that I need a 1098. Okay, where do I get it? I'll go to each mortgage website. There's the mortgage website for each document. I click on it. I download the form 1098. And I take a picture of it. And I'll show you how to do that briefly here. Last section is a chart that shows other reoccurring documents I need to get yearly. For example, you'll see the description of the document, the phone bill. I could write off my phone bill. I could write off my internet. You could even write off your cable, a portion of your cable. I know that because I went over the Schedule E. It says I could write these things off legally. I most certainly take advantage of that. And that right there adds up to 1,000 or more in write-offs every single year. W-2, TSP, 1099s, umbrella insurance, attorney fees, accounting fees. And once I have all these documents, I'll show you how to record that and properly give it to your accountant. So this is a document that you guys want to be able to create to remind yourself every single year, hey, if you're doing a task, if you're driving somewhere for work, you could record that because it's a write-off, and it'll at the end of the tax year, the fiscal year, you can actually go through in an organized fashion and make sure you've checked every single block. All right, so now after you talk to your accountant, you've read the schedules and the forms that you might need to collect in order to maximize your deductions. Now you want to learn how to record that. Now, you'll see the third app from the top is Receipts. It's Receipts by Wave, W-A-V-E. It's a very powerful OCR program here. And this is how it works. You basically take a picture of your receipt, and I had a receipt here. Here we go. So you want to take a picture of your receipt just like that. And yep, okay, it looks good. Now it's going to go through and it's going to populate all of the expenses you see on the right side. You got to give it some time for the OCR to actually read the receipt, and then it'll populate all the information for you. Then you review the document, you double check, you make sure everything is right, and then you move it to the done category. Now, look at all of these write-offs that I've been able to record here. 400, 8,880, 5,400. Here's 3,590. I mean, these are all the documents that my accountant needs. So these are, it shows you potentially of how much you can save every single year with tax write-offs. Look at all this stuff, dude. $2,200 on this one for landscaping, $4,000 for a fence that I had to put up. So that's how this app basically works. And at the end of the year, all you need to do is you go on to the website. There's actually a website that you can use to print off save everything to maybe your Dropbox or your folder, and then your accountant will get all of this information. They'll double check it. They might call you if they have questions, and then you're done. Now, the last part of recording has to do with mileage. I use Stride. If I got to drive to one of my houses, I've researched dozens of apps for recording, and this one seems to be the best. So it's super easy. You can set it to start automatically if you're driving somewhere, but basically you start a drive, it will record actually where you go, and once you're done driving, you make a little note, you make a little note in your business and why you drove there. Like, for example, I went to Home Depot. Let's look at an example of something that I did. Here we go. Now, look at all these deductions. Let's look at this one. So, look, I had to drive to Denver. Boop. I had to drive to Denver to pick up flooring. That drive and back was a $95 deduction. Now, at the end of the year, you're going to be able to compile all of these receipts and automatically save them, send that to your accountant with your receipts, and then your accountant is going to go through and just make sure everything is in order in case of an audit. All right, let's see if I got all that in the required time here. So step one, go to your accountant, say, what do I need to study? What schedules, what business can I start? That's, Joe, that's specific for you. Step two is to download all the forms. Here's for example, itemized deductions for Schedule A. Here is the instructions. You go through, you read the instructions, and it'll tell you exactly what you can and cannot deduct. You then create a summary of everything right here. This is for your notes, just to remind you if you can or cannot make a deduction. And then you're going to make a little chart here of all the yearly recurring forms that you need to collect. Okay. Once you have all those documents in hand, you take a picture. You take a picture of the receipt. Oh, look at this. Nice. This one has automatically populated as to Harbor Freight. I go through and I figure out, which house was this business expense for. And you'll see that I actually transferred my notes from Schedule A, Schedule E, and all the different forms. And you just click what form it applies to, and then you make a little note. Hey, this was Harbor Freight buying tools. Boom. And then you post it to accounting. It'll come over here. Then you're done. Last part is the Stride app. Even though you went to Harbor Freight to buy a tool, there's another deduction, not just the tool, but also the drive time. We went over the steps for this, recording your miles, and at the end of the year, you compile all this information, you send it to your accountant, and then that's how you maximize your tax deductions. So I hope this helped. You guys can definitely call me if you have any specific questions. I'll leave this form. I'll email you guys the form, and that way you can look over the specifics, how I set it up, and feel free to call me if you guys have any questions. All right.